are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Nerd Ledger. We're the nerds. I'm Cage. That's Chair over there.
Chair.
Yeah, we got a shit frame rate right now, but that's all right. I didn't plug in the internet, so you know. And yeah, this is the Nerd Ledger. This is our weekly podcast. We're live every Wednesday on Twitch at 5:30 p.m. PST to talk about all sorts of nerd stuff like Star Wars and superheroes and Marvel and DC and news and all that stuff. So yeah, that's who we are. That's why we're here. And that's what we're doing. So
Yes, sir.
yeah. Anyway, I'll stop this music now. Anyway, that song I was playing was it's the first song off my new album I just released.
Oh, congrats! Yeah, I saw. Like, I haven't listened to it yet. I really need to because I need to be a good friend. But also, like, I've just been a busy couple of weeks at the old gaming front and on the old office front. So, like, when I just run home, I just want a game. So
yeah. But if anybody, if you liked what you heard, you can go listen to it. That song is called "In the Shade" and it's off my album called "One Sunny Day."
One sunny day.
Yeah.
The day that's sunny.
Well, yeah. It's like finding the stars at night through the clouds. It's like or something. I don't fucking know. I just made the names. Okay.
Through the clouds.
There's no song called "Through the Clouds," but yeah.
No.
Anyway, welcome. Today we got a full plate. Because we have to talk about the Bad Batch season 3, episodes 1 through 3, and definitely we'll be speaking about spoilers in there. So we are forewarned.
Yeah.
But whenever we start, just like to catch up and cover some things that have been going on in our lives. And hey, maybe people hate that. I don't know. Don't really care. If you don't like it, you can skip ahead until we, talk about shit later. But yeah, there's been a lot going on, at least for me. I don't know about you. I don't know what's been going on with you. But if there's stuff, hey, feel free to talk about it. Because sometimes you just need to vent. You need to let things out. Have a good bitch session. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's always good to do that. And, when you're doing it on a semi-public forum, where we don't have the biggest listening base here at the Nerd Ledger, but, it's good to still feel like it's like, there's a public out there that cares.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even if they don't, it's still, it feels like, you can just let things out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but what have you been up to? What's been going on with you, sir?
Just working and playing a lot of video games, a lot of gaming right now for me. A lot of I go to the office and deal with a copier. Our copier has been down for 2 weeks now or 3 weeks. So a lot of back and forth on that, getting a new package set up for the copier because they got to squeeze something because we had a serious failure with one of our computers. So dealing with that a lot. Focusing on this whole thing about where I'm trying to go back to law school this year, I guess. I got to sign up for the LSAT soon if I'm going to take it this year. So that's been a big buckle on my mind. And just a lot of gaming, I guess. That's the other part. Just doing a lot of gaming and pulling my personality together and just doing all that good stuff, self-organizing. We're doing a lot of self-organizing, cleaning a lot of my house, a lot of spring cleaning.
Yeah.
This has been pretty warm here, so it's been
It has been warm. Like, mornings are coldish, but not, super cold. And then it just, bro, by, time I'm out of work, it's fucking, bro, it's, 70 degrees. What the fuck?
Yeah.
But, yeah. Well, for people who may not know, I did a podcast, a solo on Friday. Where I gave the final updates on my whole car situation. So for people who are not aware, I did get my car back finally.
Yay!
No help
After
from my
years.
insurance on that. I maintain. I don't care. Hey, if you listen, insurance adjuster, you are useless. I will continue to say it. I don't give no fucks, Brett. This guy's just useless. He just is. the only reason I got my car back, right? Right.
Mm.
So like the highlights here are, um, they told me forever my car wasn't totaled because they said there was only 9K in damages. The shop told me there's 21K in damages. They went back and forth for like a month and a half before they decided on a price, which
Mm.
ended up being 20K. And even then, there was the possibility that they'd find more damage, and they did find more damage. My insurance adjuster, who is fucking useless, called me and said, "Your car is definitely not totaled. I know you might think it's totaled because the shop told you it's totaled. It's not totaled. We value your car at 27K and or 28K, and your car's only got 20K in damages. It's not totaled. It'd have to be like 5K more than that." After
Mm.
all is said and done, it was 27K in damages that they have to pay out. Um,
Mm.
so by the threshold law or whatever they use, insurance companies have like a threshold. It's never like, it doesn't have to be exactly more than the car is valued. There's like a threshold to it. So it would have been beyond the threshold, so it was totaled, but it doesn't matter. It got repaired, it got fixed. I got it back, and they were waiting. So the shop was waiting. They finished the car 2 days before they gave it to me, and they said, "We need the approval for the supplement from the insurance before we can give the car back." They called me 2 days
Mm.
later and said, "We got approval from our regional manager to give you your car back because we've been sitting on it, uh, and we'll get approval later."
Mm.
And so, again, my insurance adjuster is fucking useless.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's all resolved now. I got my car back, which I'm happy about, and that's it. I, yeah,
And so it is brought to a close.
yeah,
The epic saga.
yeah. And so I got it back on Thursday of last week, and
Mm.
then Monday was my 3 year anniversary with my wife, well,
Yeah, I
for when we
saw
got
on
married.
your post. Yeah, I liked your post.
Thank
You
you.
know, as a good friend, didn't
Yeah,
text or anything like that, but I definitely liked
it's
the
okay.
post.
It's okay. It was a rough day.
Oh.
And not because of anything between us. It's just like a lot of things out of our control happened, and
Mm.
it was kind of rough. So like first, right, we went to the gym in the morning,
Mm.
because that's very romantic.
Oh yeah,
But we're doing
totally.
legs, and I hurt my back a little bit. Okay, I was ego
Oof.
lifting a little bit. No mistake.
Trying to
No,
impress your lady
no,
when she was there.
I was deadlifting, and like,
Mm.
when you get to like, I don't know if you know, I don't know how much you go to the gym, but like, if like you're lifting heavy and you get towards the end of a set, like sometimes like you overdo it and it slips a little bit. And
Mm.
so like, well, I was like, I overdid it. I lifted a little bit improperly, and then I put the bar down a little improperly while deadlifting, and so like I hurt something in my back where it like felt a little strained,
Mm.
which was really annoying. It was better like the next day. Like it still hurt a little bit, like in certain positions, but like overall I got better. But like that day, it just fucking hurt, and it was
Mm.
hard to stand after that and stuff. But whatever, like I wasn't gonna let it ruin my day. So like we went out for like brunch, and like while we were at brunch, like I started just having like a massive headache, and I didn't know why. Probably it was dehydrated, to be honest. But like I just had like a
Yep.
massive headache, and like that was like the start of it. And so like we got brunch. I thought like maybe I just need to eat, and like it helped a little bit, just ate, and then like ran some errands, like picked up some groceries, and like fucking whatever. So then we came home and noticed that my wife's car in the driveway had a flat tire,
Nice.
and we're just like, "Bro, we cannot fucking catch a break." um and so there was that, and then like, yeah, I just felt like shit the rest of the day. Like I ended up like taking like a small nap, which helped, like because my head was pounding, bro. That shit was hurting. I don't know what was happening. And
Yeah.
then like once I drank like a bottle of Gatorade when I woke up and whatever, like I felt better, like my head wasn't hurting
Yeah.
much anymore.
So you're
So
definitely dehydrated for sure.
yeah, but like it was just like all this shit, like it just made the day feel like shit, and like my wife doesn't really get angry, and if she does, like she hides it pretty well. But like
Mm.
when she saw her tire was flat, she was fucking pissed. She was livid, and I was like, I was like, like I get it, because like obviously things happen, and you're just like you feel like things are starting to do better or pick up, and then you just like shit hits you, right? And you're like, fuck, dude, that's like another expense and all this shit, and it's like it ended up working out. Like I put her dummy tire on. She brought it in today. She was gonna get a new tire, but they told her they could just patch it, so it's free, right? Like easy, easy enough. Like you save $150 that way. So, but yeah, like it's just like when sometimes shit just comes up and happens, and like it's out of your control. And so like for me, I try not to let it bother me too much, because I kind of expect things like that. But I get it, because like bro, it's been happening a lot recently, where it's just like one thing happens, you're like, okay, we'll deal with this. Another thing happens, you're like, all right, we'll deal with this. And then like eventually, it's the straw that breaks the camel's back. And you're just like, bro, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, at least you guys managed to pull through it and didn't like let it turn into like a fighting couple. Like
no,
that's it.
like obviously like we're not perfect, but like we don't fight about shit like that. Like we don't really fight
Mm.
much. We have disagreements, but like when stuff like that happens, it's like you know, I always try to gauge things, right? It's like everything else. Like I think there's always a balance to things, and there's a way to approach certain things. And like if I know she's upset, I'm gonna try to balance that out and not like
Mm.
add to it or fuel it or like be pedantic or like condescending or whatever. Like I'm just gonna like be the calming presence and like wait, until
Yeah.
like until things are more chill. Like that's just but it's not always that way, right? Like, and it's the same thing. Like again, like with like podcasting and stuff. Like most of the time, bro. Like whatever subjects we talk about, if we're talking about casting news or whatever fucking news or whatever TV show reviews, bro, we don't give a shit what we say, right? Like we can be unhinged. We can say whatever we want. Like it's not like we have to approach those things with any kind of sensitivity. Like, but if we're talking about like Jonathan Major's assault case, like we're gonna approach it in a much different way because
Mm.
it requires that, right? Like
Yeah.
you're not gonna go into that and just be unhinged and say shit because hey, who fucking cares? Like that has way more weight to it and way more implications. Like you don't know who's listening, you don't know who could be affected by that. Like whereas like bro, if someone gets upset because I say, oh yeah, bro, I don't like the new set image from The Crow, bro, who gives a fuck? That's my opinion. Like
Yeah.
who cares? Like does that bother you? Okay, whatever, right? But so
Yep.
and even that, like that can be very annoying in relationships where you try to approach things like logically and rationally like that, because that's not always what someone needs either, right? So it's just part of life and going through it and learning how to navigate and how to approach things and how to support the people that you love, right? Like I don't want my wife
Yeah.
to be upset. Like I don't want to be the one who upsets her, for sure. Like I want to support her and help her in any way I can. So yeah, it's just what it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good.
I
It's a
yeah
thoughtful, mature way to be.
yeah. I when I put her dummy tire on, I changed it for her. I was like that's probably the most manly thing you've ever seen me do.
Yeah. Change the tire.
Yeah, it is easy, bro. We used to change tires
Yeah.
all
It
the
is.
fucking time at the harbor,
It is.
right? Like
Yeah. It is. It is easy.
yeah.
Once you get over like that first part of it, it's a lot. It's definitely easy.
I think the thing that sets a lot of people back is they don't know where to put the jack, right? Like they're
Yeah.
scared they're gonna like bend the frame and shit, but like
Well, yeah, and or two, just the whole process. Like there's people are scared of doing new things. So
yeah, yeah. But anyway, I think that catches us up, and I don't know if I have much else to say, but do I? I don't think
yeah,
so.
not like me. Like I don't have much to say either. Like I've just been. I haven't really been doing a whole lot. Like I've been like I got assigned like some committees at work. That's really about it.
Yeah. Um, have you watched any of the live action Last Airbender?
No.
Mm. I'm 3 episodes in. Probably would have been more, but like, I'm watching it with my wife because I'm gonna when it's done, I want to review it with her.
Mm.
Uh, and she's struggling a little bit to watch it. Like she just doesn't really want to watch it. And like
Mm.
she's like, you can watch some episodes without me. I'll catch up. And I'm like, bro, I know if I don't watch them with you, you will never watch them.
Yeah.
So, uh, But yeah, I think it'll definitely be an interesting conversation for sure. So,
Yeah,
um,
maybe one of these days I'll go to watch, but there's so much other good stuff that I want to watch right now. You know,
yeah.
that's like my problem. Like I also got like an issue um with the Bad Batch. Like I've only watched 2 episodes. I kept forgetting there was a third one that I needed to watch. Then I got caught up in an anime I was watching
Oh.
every night. So I watched 2 episodes and I went to bed and I was like, I'm gonna watch the third one tomorrow. But then I forgot there was a third one.
Well, and also the
That because I
fourth
could
one
have,
dropped today too.
yeah. So I'll watch them in a pair. Good. So I'm gonna be in tonight at
Yeah.
least. That's good.
All right, so I guess we'll only talk about the first two
The
episodes
first two
today.
episodes. Yeah, my bad.
So
My bad.
it's all right. Okay. Well, I think we'll just jump into that now because, I mean, there's some news. I don't really care. The only news I covered on Friday without you that you
Mm.
actually care about is the Batman Beyond concept thing.
Yeah.
Um, so,
Honestly, it makes me sad now thinking about it.
well, so I read the full article actually, and it's a little different than the headline suggests.
Mm.
Because so essentially, right, for people who don't know, the one of the visual artists behind the Spider-Verse movies, they did some concept art for a Batman Beyond movie, similar similar animation style. I don't know who would write it or whatever, but they pitched this movie to Warner Brothers, and before they did, Warner Brothers straight up told them, "We're not making the movie. You can pitch it to us, but we're not going to make it. So you're just going to waste your time. But you can go ahead and do it if you want, right?"
Mm.
And so that's pretty much what the headline was. Is like they were told beforehand it's not getting made, and so that's that. But the rest of the article says that they were actually very impressed with the pitch and that it is a real possibility that something happens with it in the future. Like they're shopping it around essentially. So it could get made. It's possible.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like I saw those stills with ink, with ink in the background, and like just that's the suit, and I just think about the animation style, and my brain does the rest of the work, and I'm just like, man, dude, I wish you didn't see all this now.
Yeah.
Like it really, it's like it's so cool looking, and I would absolutely love it. I would absolutely love it. There's
Uh,
no doubt about that. So, I don't know what else to say other than like it would be great. All the voice actors, except for one, are still alive, and that could certainly be part of the story because part of that storyline was that Bruce was old as hell.
yeah.
They could have given a little tribute to Kevin Conroy in the background of that too.
Right.
Um, and just I really think that animation style would have blended really well with like the dark oppressive atmosphere of like the Batman Beyond universe because like Batman Beyond was like growing up, that was my, it's probably the reason I like in weird metal, like industrial metal and like techno metal and all that just weird like hardcore stuff. It was really hard, very up and present in front of that, and that opening sequence too is pretty trippy if you go back and watch it now.
Yeah.
And just it dealt with some really intense themes. That was another big thing. It was like maybe more for like it was like more mature adult in a lot of ways than frickin' than the original animated series was. And there's even like the movie where the Joker returns was frickin' super intense and it was awesome, dude. That movie was awesome. I
Yeah.
went
Yeah.
back and
Yeah.
watched it earlier and it was just like just awesome. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah. Definitely. So, but other than that, I mean, there's not much other like news to really talk about. I think so.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, again, there is, but who fucking cares, to be honest.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, we'll talk about.
Everything going on with Jonathan Majors, like the frickin' King Dynasty's being rewritten. I'm sure you talked about that on Friday or
Oh
whatever.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So essentially, they're
Yeah, it's like,
dropping the name,
mm,
and they haven't said a whole lot else about it. So like, there's always the possibility that King gets recast,
yeah,
and that they kind of shift focuses a little bit, but still will use King in some way, shape, or form. But there's
mm,
also the possibility that they just ignore it all, and King, he disappeared in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. We don't have to worry about trying to bring him back. We can ignore the post-credit scene. We've done that a bunch of times or whatever.
yeah,
And yeah, so yeah, I think there's some rework going on there. Like I mean, Disney overall they want to rework the MCU in a lot of ways.
mm,
Kind of like they want more quality, less quantity kind of thing. And then there was other like news about like Doctor Doom not showing up till the end of the Fantastic Four movie or something, like having a very small part, not being the main villain. Shit, but that's all just rumors right now. So, yeah. Yeah, and then there was a set image from The Crow showing Bill Skarsgård's Eric Draven, and I wasn't that much a fan of it, as I said earlier. But who knows? The movie might be good. And tomorrow we're gonna go see Dune 2, last minute decision. So I don't know what that suggests that I could still get 2 decent tickets the day before the movie comes out, but there's a bunch of showtimes, so.
Yeah, it could be that. People are probably going to go a little bit later.
Yeah,
Usually most
IMAX
people
as
like
well. I think a lot of people probably want to see an IMAX.
Well, see an IMAX, yeah. So,
So,
yeah, I'm excited. I thought the first one was good. I didn't think it was a very good Dune movie, but that's just how movies are. You can't get everything you want from the book that you can get, out of a movie. And I appreciated the movie for what it was. Like, obviously, the source material is there, and I think they're doing a good job. Like, it was a really good science fiction movie. And that's what I said in my review. That it was a really, really good science fiction movie, but a bad Dune movie. But this movie is going to have all the different characters that they just kept out for some reason. I think that's kind of dumb to introduce them into this only in the second movie. I know what scene they're probably going to start off with, so we're just gonna go from there and hope that it gets trippy and the movie gets successful and that they make Children of Dune and they make God Emperor of Dune, and God Emperor of Dune is amazing. It's like one of my favorite books of all time. Like it's a really trippy book if you've never read it. Don't read any of the other books after that, after God Emperor, because they're like really horny in a weird way. But you can just yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Did I don't remember what I was gonna ask. But the only other news of note was like Brie Larson was asked about Captain Marvel 3 or something, and she just didn't even respond to that. It's like, so people are like saying, "Oh, that doesn't bode well," or who fucking cares? And there was something else I don't remember, so it must not have been that important. Oh wait, I did save one. Hold on, I saved one. I remember because I was like, "Oh, that could be interesting." Oh, I remember what it was. It was about the Rings of Power. There's like a new deal with Amazon for future seasons or some shit. So, but I don't know why that's relevant. Of course, they're gonna make more seasons. They want to make money, and the Lord of the Rings is a big thing to make money off of. So.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the Rings of Power showrunners sign exclusive Amazon MGM Studios deal setting up season 3. Okay. Well, season 2's not out yet, so. But I think it's going to come out this year or something. Who knows? All right.
Who can tell? Who knows?
All right. The Bad Batch, guys. The Bad Batch.
Yes, sir. Episode 1.
Episode
getting
1.
The Omega episode out of the way right away.
Of season 3 is called Confined. I'll read you the the summary. So, following her capture, Omega becomes part of the Imperial Cloning Division against her will. One of her tasks consists of taking blood samples of clones alongside Emery Carr. However, Omega becomes suspicious when Emery also takes Omega's blood, only for Nala Se to discard the sample in secret. She also evades the guards to speak with fellow Bad Batch member Crosshair, who vainly attempts to discourage Omega from escaping Mount Tantus, and befriends a Lurka hound named Bacha. When the Imperials decide to euthanize Bacha, Omega frees the hound, which escapes into the jungles of Wayland. Dr. Hemlock warns Omega that further defiance will result in consequences for Crosshair. So that's a good summary of the episode. And yeah, this episode really just focuses on Omega kind of adjusting to new life. It leaves us some mysteries. Why is Nala Se destroying her blood? I thought it was pretty obvious. But we'll discuss that more in depth as well. And I'm not sure which episode it's in. I think it is the first episode here that for the first time Crosshair refers to Omega by her name and not like just the kid or whatever. So there's some growth. There's some growth there. But yeah, for people who don't know, people who never read Heir to the Empire, Mount Tantus is a major thing.
That's where the Emperor's clones are, right?
Yeah, so it is the cloning facility.
The original plot that everybody hated in the new episode, but was okay with the books for and sitting there for 20 years.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, those books have been out for what, 30 something years now?
40 20 or 30 or 40 years, but when
Yeah,
they first came out, like they had it's weird now, like now that I think about it, now that I've read it and like looked over some of them, like how many of like, the ideas that people absolutely despise in the new movies is like present in the books that everybody claimed to
absolutely.
love. So
Yeah.
like
Well,
even Luke literally falls to the dark side for a long time. Like he becomes the Emperor's apprentice. Spoilers alert, by the way, if you haven't read any of those books. So,
yeah.
it's just a strange series of events.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is interesting, and it's like it's one of those things where, um, it'd be interesting to see if they ever bring in like the Isalamari into like live action or animated Star Wars. I don't think they have ever before, right? Like the little creatures that repel the Force,
Hmm.
that Thrawn uses, right? But
Yep.
like if you've read Heir to the Empire, you can clearly tell like even though it's like not considered canon anymore, right? It's part of Legends. Like they're on Wayland. Like there's Mount Tantus. Like that's straight from the book. Like
Yeah.
this is where the Emperor's cloning technology was. This is how they get their clone forces to operate these dreadnoughts from the Dark Force that they found. Like, bro,
Yep.
like this is it, right? And it's on the same fucking planet. It's on Wayland where they found the clone of Master Sabayoth, right? Like, there's clearly something there they're trying to establish. And then when you watch Ahsoka as well, like it's very clear, like they have an idea of what they want to do and how
Yeah.
they want to integrate those stories moving forward, right? Because for most people, Heir to the Empire, if you've read any Star Wars books, it's like one of the ones at the top of the list. Like you need to read this Thrawn trilogy because it's like one of the biggest stories out there for non-canon Star Wars. And so it's very clear that like when they're looking for stories to incorporate, like it's going to be at the top of that list, and that's what they're doing, right? Ahsoka, they started it, and they're doing more of it now, obviously in the Bad Batch. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, and you haven't watched episode 3, so you're a little behind on as far as like what the knowledge is from that episode, but
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, my bad again. I really should have watched it, but
that's
I
all
was
right.
just like,
It's all
oh,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, but it is to me very interesting. Like it feels like I don't know for people who maybe aren't familiar with the Thrawn, the original Thrawn trilogy, like if any of this means anything to them, or they're just kind of like along for the ride, or if they don't understand. Like I feel like the show makes it easy to understand like what's going on, but like I think obviously you don't have those ties then to Thrawn, right?
Yeah.
And honestly, no, never mind. I won't say that. But
Okay.
but yeah. So this episode just focuses on Omega kind of adjusting to life. You can tell like her hair's grown out, like starts growing out, like she's been there for a long time.
Hmm.
We don't know how long necessarily, but we can tell it's been a long time, and she's trying to navigate in this world, and she's trying to understand everything that's going on. But her ultimate goal is to escape, and not just to escape, but to escape with Crosshair.
Hmm.
Um, and so I liked all the little scenes that she has with Crosshair. Like I think those are very nice. It's very
Hmm.
nice. And then obviously with Bacha, the Lurker Hound. She's very fond of Bacha. So,
Yep.
um, and maybe that'll be important in the future. But yeah, uh, it was a decent first episode. Like, they do. I think they do a very good job with the Bad Batch. Like they make it interesting enough. Like season 2, I think had some issues with some of it. Like there were some episodes that were less than interesting.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, it got a little slow, and like, it's just hard to put around in a circle that's very compelling forever, with this kind of show because, again, it was like an offshoot of the Clone Wars. And
right.
it wasn't really like anything too crazy, so doesn't really blow my mind too much that like, it doesn't have a very long shelf life like and that's just for going on in perpetuity, you know. So that's not
Yeah.
what the show set out to do, I don't think.
And ultimately, right, like they have a plan, right? Like they know obviously it's the last season, right? We know where this ends, right?
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
like about
no.
where it ends. So, um yeah, it'll be interesting to see, and like I said, like right now, like obviously Omega's whole goal is to escape this facility with Crosshair, and while she's doing that, I mean, she's trying to understand like what's going on, and Nalase is just over there destroying her blood and shit, and she doesn't really get that. And to me, like, it was pretty clear, like, obviously there's a component within Omega's blood that they're probably searching for, you know. And we saw, I mean, I didn't actually watch the Bad Batch trailer in full ever, but I knew Asajj Ventress was in it.
Yeah.
And maybe I should watch the trailer because I was told by Phoenix that I was probably wrong about my prediction, because I predicted that Asajj Ventress, if they're following the Dark Disciple novel because she dies, would either be a clone in this or somehow like brought back to life, like resurrected. Yeah. But Phoenix doesn't think so, because based on the trailer. So, you know, who knows? But I still think that could happen. That could happen. Because, or they'll just ignore the book continuity entirely, which I'm pretty sure they said they weren't going to do, but
yeah,
who knows?
Anything's possible.
Anything is possible, but yeah.
Galaxy far, far away.
Yeah, essentially not a whole lot other stuff happens in this episode.
Yeah, I found the episode to be like pretty endearing because I have a weakness for dogs.
Yeah.
And like just adopting pets and stuff like that. So.
Pacha.
Yeah. You know, and again, like it was a joke, but like it's serious. Like, you know, most of us don't really watch this show to follow around a young prepubescent girl. Like, you know, obviously, how long do you think she was there for? That's one thing too. Like, you know, it looks like she was there for at least 2 or 3 years.
Ooh,
that's what I'm thinking.
I don't know if it's years. I would say like
I think it's years.
6 months.
I think how much she grew, I think is a lot more different. I think it's been like at least a year or 2.
It's definitely been some time, which is also evident in episode 2. That it's been some time, but we don't know how long it's been. It'd be very interesting to actually get a number to that, because maybe the writers didn't know either. They're just like, oh well, we have to make sure time has passed, but who knows how much time has passed, right?
Yeah.
And you would think that someone would fucking notice that like Omega's blood wasn't ever actually red.
Yeah.
Like, at least in my mind, I think that like nobody's probably inspecting every blood sample, right? Like it just goes through the machine. But like if they know Omega's been there for this long, wouldn't they have like a database or a record system that shows like her DNA? Like,
I mean, maybe I don't know.
Like it wouldn't necessarily show her DNA, but it would show that like it didn't exist in the system.
It's a branching off of a kid's show. Sometimes you gotta let things like that slide.
That's true. It's true. But I mean, and again, this is one of those things where like it's the Empire. It's so large. They have so much hubris at this point that like, why would they ever waste that time to even look at that, right?
Yeah.
So you know, there's that perspective as well. So who knows?
Yes, sir.
But yeah, the episode essentially ends with like Dr. Hemlock being like, "Yo, Omega, you're fucking around and trying to find out, and you think we're not gonna fuck you up because of Nalase, and you're right. But we'll fuck up the people you care about, so you better watch yourself."
Yeah.
So. And then episode 2 is called Paths Unknown. After gaining intel from the Durand crime family, Hunter and Rekka travel to an abandoned Imperial cloning facility Hemlock was in charge of. The pair runs into Mox, Zeke, and Stack, clone cadets that were held prisoner by Hemlock before managing to escape as the Empire destroyed the facility. Zeke helps Hunter and Wrecker enter the facility while evading Slithervines, an Imperial experiment gone awry. Meanwhile, Mox and Stack manage to find the Marauder. While Zeke is gathering intel, the trio are attacked by the Slithervines, which are revealed to be the tentacles of a huge monster. Mox and Stack are able to extract the three before defeating the creature with explosives. Hunter then promises to take the cadets to Pabu. So that's that whole episode. And yeah, I mean, at the very beginning of this episode, right, like they're, you know, we see the Pikes and you know, they're doing some kind of trial thingies, and the, you know, Hunter and Wrecker show up and they're like, hey, we got this guy who like killed somebody or some shit, and like tell us the intel you have. And it's, you know, it's been a fucking long time, obviously, because they're doing all these side missions just to find out anything about Omega.
Yeah.
And that leads them to this planet where they find that essentially the facility that Hemlock had worked in had been destroyed. Right, there was like, what do they call them, like orbital something, orbital.
Storms. There was like storms all the time or something,
No,
so
no,
they
no.
decided
Like
to abandon it.
the Empire destroyed it. Like they like orbital
Oh,
assaults or
lasers. Yeah.
something. Yeah, some
Yeah,
shit.
orbital laser cannons from their turbo lasers or something from orbit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they destroyed the facility and whatever, but like the Slither Vines was like their experiment that's like now just spreading throughout the planet and just consuming everything.
Mm.
And it's fucking disgusting. But it's like the Watcher in the water, but like with way longer arms and tentacles. Um,
Yeah, yeah. Pretty intense for sure. Like definitely like a classic evil Star Wars hostile creature.
yeah,
Um, it's cool to look at. I kind of found this episode to be a bit filler-y, like
yeah, it was.
it could have been a little bit more better for, I don't know. Like I just feel like there could have been a little bit more. But also at the same time, I don't make shows, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's filler, but it's also like character development and growth and all this shit, and like to kind of highlight the impact of the Empire and like the negative things they're doing and stuff beyond
Mm,
just like whatever they're doing with the clones. Like they're doing other experiments, like they're just like going crazy and shit. They
things we
abandoned
already
and
know.
yeah, they abandoned and killed all these little cadet clones or whatever. These are the ones that
Yeah,
survived, and yeah, I mean, I think that's what this episode is trying to highlight, but at the same time, like, it is a detour on their way to Omega, right? Like they had to go there to get this, intel or like from the panel or some shit at the old facility, because somehow that'll tell them where this incredibly secret place is that nobody's supposed to know about on Wayland.
yeah,
But it's just conveniently in their archives in a fucking deserted, destroyed base. So,
yep,
but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely. You're not the first person who said to me episode 2 is kind of a filler.
yeah,
So
for sure. Because the reason is like we don't, there's not like the problem with now is like there's not a whole lot to talk about, because we've already like it's just filler. It really is just filler. There's like they get some information to points to them having to go to another place to get more information. So that means episode 3 obviously there's going to be more stuff going on, and I still need to watch it, and I'm definitely
uh,
going to watch those 2 episodes tonight.
yeah, well, I will tell you that they're not in episode 3 at all. So
Oh,
episode 3
well,
just goes back to Omega and
oh great,
what do you mean?
2
Oh,
Omega episodes.
great.
I don't know, like I just don't want to watch a whole lot of Omega episodes, but you know,
Well, I mean, she's like
don't
the
don't
main character now.
don't mind me. Don't mind me,
She
crotchety,
she is the Bad Batch.
crotchety boy. Don't mind me.
I mean, come on. You just don't like her accent, huh? Because you're an accent
Yeah,
hater.
I just do that, and I just don't. Well, no, specifically when it comes to like accents, like it's like your accent specifically, and again, like I would just like you to
Whoa,
go do that voice
whoa,
in a pub somewhere, like in the middle of
whoa.
rural, like England or something like that, and see how they act.
Okay, but Omega is particularly egregious with her accent. I'm saying everything
Yeah,
is so enunciated. Well, not enunciated, but everything is so like exaggerated. Ricky,
mm,
Tick, Hanta, Bacha.
yeah,
Saying she's so New Zealandy. She's such a Kiwi. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Not that about that.
So,
So were those like 2 clones, the clone
oh
kids?
yeah,
I
all
thought
the
that was cool.
cadets, all the cadets. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I liked the cadets. I thought that was a pretty dope little like fun thing. How they're like regulars, like regular clones, just like abandoned on this hostile planet, and since they're like clones of Jango Fett, they can just survive because Jango Fett's fucking badass. So
Yeah. Yep. I'm just scrolling through to see if there's any other news. And honestly, all this news is not even interesting in the slightest.
yeah,
So,
yeah, it'd be like that sometimes. Mm. Good that
um,
like we have Bad Batch, but like It's just again like I'll keep saying this because it's true. Like it is an offshoot of a kids show, so it's a it's kind of like more like a pond compared to sometimes like when we're swimming in lakes if you catch my meaning.
Yeah, but there are
So
very interesting adult themes still within there, right? I
yeah,
mean, obviously
absolutely.
they have like a lot of kids stuff, but um, yeah, I don't know. It feels like there's a lot of adult themes there, which is true of most like kids shows or kids movies. Like there's always like stuff in there like that are like clearly kids can't comprehend that, right? And like
Mm,
it is they're made by adults, so you know.
yep,
But yeah.
absolutely. No, absolutely. Like it's hard to make a kids show that's like really compelling to adults as well. It's really hard to do. 'Cause you have to step on eggshells, essentially. Make sure you don't say something that's like too offensive to children and the way that you like censored, basically.
Yeah. You remember one of the big stories from last summer was like the awful box office for Pixar's Elemental,
Yeah,
which ended up actually doing very well box office wise. It just started slow.
yeah.
Did you ever watch that movie?
No, I didn't. I thought about going back and watching it though, because I know they're putting Soul in theaters soon, so I'm probably gonna go see that. You don't know
Yeah.
what Soul is? It's a Pixar
Yeah,
film,
yeah, I
and it's
saw
just
it.
like it's probably one of the best films they've ever made. That studio's ever made. Like it's just an apex of what Pixar is. Like
Yeah.
how they can communicate such like they're talking about death essentially, and like what you leave behind when you die, and like the creation of new life, and like it's a kids movie that like kids will go watch and be entertained by.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I was I was watching Gargoyles on my phone one night and my wife put on Elemental on Disney Plus and she was just crying a lot, so
now, did you watch it? Did you look over and
I
watch it at all?
I mean I picked up the most of the movie. I could tell you what it's about, but
Mm,
yeah, I mean yeah, it definitely is a moving movie. It'll make you cry, and
good.
I think Pixar is well known for being able to do that.
Yeah.
So
Pixar
and it
and
looks
yeah,
great.
Pixar
Like
like it's either hit or miss with Pixar. Like, it sucks that they messed up Lightyear so bad. Lightyear I just found super boring and
didn't even
uncompelling, and
watch it.
yeah, a lot of people didn't, and like I
Did
don't know how
Pixar
they're the
do Turning Red as well? Was that them?
yeah, they did. No, I think that was Disney. I can't remember if that was Disney or Pixar. Turning Well did okay, but I don't think Turning Red was made for me.
Yeah.
You know.
For people who are gonna say Disney owns Pixar, we know. Shut up. They still have
No,
different
yeah,
studios that do different things.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
just for those out there. I mean, there are people who still think Morbius is part of the MCU. Like, come on now. Come on now. Anyway, but
I'm the
yeah,
Morb.
yeah, it's Morbin time. Yeah, and
I was so disappointed he never said that in the movie.
did you watch the movie?
No, I never
Yeah,
did. I
same.
was thinking about that too. Like, I haven't seen
Same.
any of these bad movies. I really kind of want to go see Madam Web, honestly.
See,
I want,
I thought that too, but why not just wait till it's free somewhere? You know,
yeah, that's
like why would I
true. But
spend money
also,
to go see it and just I don't want to
yeah,
spend
eventually,
money to like be disappointed in something. I want to spend money to enjoy
yeah,
something.
because there are like bad movies that are so bad they're good. So I'm wondering if it might be that situation. Like, this movie is
I
just
don't
so
think
awfully
that's
terrible.
true. Like because everything
Uh,
I've read about it says the concept is really good, the
mhm.
execution is dog shit.
Ooh,
And when
dog
that's
shit, you
true,
say?
like then it just makes the move like it just makes you disappointed. Whereas like if the concept was shit and everything else was shit, like then it could be so bad that it's good, right? Like it's like bro,
Yeah,
everything here is so bad it's comical. But when like there's something in there to give you hope that it might be good, and then they just shit all over it, you're just like fuck man, this is dog shit. So at least that's how I think of it. But I could be wrong too. Could be wrong.
yeah.
So
Oh, I just think about too, like, talking hate about these movies. Like, obviously, Madam Web is getting beat at the box office for a specific reason. When the Marvels 2 came out, obviously still had a very low box office performance, but there were still some people on the internet saying, "Oh, this movie wasn't that bad." Like, it was okay. It
yeah,
was okay. It
well
wasn't the most exciting Marvel movie, but it wasn't like, terrible
that's
either. Like some
that's
people on the
the
internet are,
that's the
but I
very
don't know.
interesting thing is like like
I don't,
some movies are do poorly for certain reasons, right? Like the Marvel's box office performance had nothing to do with the quality of the movie because the majority of comments you'd see about the movie said that it was good or they enjoyed it. Whereas Madam
Mm.
Web, I haven't seen a single person say something positive about it.
Yeah, same. That's what I'm catching too. Is like I don't see anyone like, I would go into the comments on Instagram and all I see is like, oh yeah, we saw it, like it was pretty boring, it was bad, it wasn't very inspiring, like all this other stuff. And you don't see someone saying, I saw it and I had a lot of fun, which is what I saw when a lot of people saw the Marvels too, or Miss Marvel too, or whatever the fuck that movie was called.
Just called The Marvels.
The Marvel, yeah, when the Marvels came out, like,
Yeah.
there was a lot of people, like myself included, like, hey, like I had a lot of fun, like, sitting in a theater, like watching this movie, like, it was pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
Like it just had a mixed in musical number just to piss people off, and I really appreciate like just I really appreciate that.
It's funny because I saw on like Twitter the other day. I know it's called X now, but I'm still going to call it Twitter.
Mm.
Someone was like, "I just found out the Joker 2 is gonna be a musical. Oh my god, I'm so scared." And I was like, "Well, first of all, when it was announced, they said it was gonna be a musical. So I don't know how you're just now hearing this the year it comes out when this was announced like 2 years ago. But second of all, why would that necessarily make it bad? Like people just hate musicals.
Mm.
People hate like people love music, but they think music in movies is cringe. Like it's
Yeah.
kind of odd. So, but again, it's Twitter, and don't get me wrong, guys. Twitter is not real life. The internet is not real life. These are not how real people speak and interact in the real world.
Mm.
And again, on the internet, people are mad about everything anyway. So, what do I expect, right? What do I expect? But it also makes me realize, like, even though like I don't live, breathe, and sleep nerd shit anymore, like I'm still like way more informed than most people, and so like I apologize if ever like we're talking about something and I talk about it as if you should already understand all of it,
Mm.
because I assume people do, and then maybe we lose you because we're just like we're too far
We're
ahead.
we're huge nerds that
Yeah,
go way too deep into this nerd content.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Word, dead ass.
Word. Yeah.
So
What else is there to talk about? So who do you think so they're gonna brush Kang under the ruggy thing, and then they're gonna do like what,
Uh,
Galactus, because they're coming out with
so
freaking
they
Fantastic
say
Four.
the rumor is Galactus will be the villain of the Fantastic Four movie. I
Mm.
think it's too soon for that. I think,
Galactus, yeah, usually scale up to something like Galactus.
yeah, but I also think the same of Doctor Doom. I think Doctor Doom should be scaled up to as well.
Mm.
Unless you're gonna do it in the way that they did Loki, right? Where Loki's the villain more or less of the first Thor movie, but then like he builds up to become the villain of the first Avengers movie, right? Like if you're gonna
Yeah.
build it that way, where like you introduce Doctor Doom there, and like he has his rivalry with Reed Richards, and like starts to steadily become a villain, but like not the fully fledged villain he will become. And then
Yeah.
by Avengers 5, which they're dropping the title of the King Dynasty, so they can fill that in with more or less Doctor Doom becoming more of a proper villain before they transition that into Secret Wars the following year. And if they're doing the Secret Wars that I think they're doing, I mean, Doctor Doom is going to be a major part of that as well, more in the
Mm.
form of God Doom. But, you know, yeah. So I think that's a direction they could go and maybe are trying to go. That
Mm.
doesn't mean that they'll completely do away with Kang. It might be cleaner and easier to just completely do away with Kang at this point.
Yeah.
Um, but you never know, right? Like what they're thinking. Like they could easily recast. I mean, there's a multiverse. Oh, it's not
Yeah.
hard, right?
Yeah.
Just recast. But
Absolutely.
at this point in time, how much easier is it just to transition out of that? Like there's not really any loose thread there where it's like we're expecting Kang necessarily to come back, right? I
Mm.
mean, they did away with Victor Timely for the most part in Loki, and Kang got sucked into the thing in the end of Quantumania. And sure, there's all these other Kangs or whatever we see in this post credit scene, but again, that doesn't have to mean anything, right? It could just be showing
Yeah.
us there's a bunch of Kangs and their plan is to stop that Kang who stopped anyway, right? Wait, was he stopped? He got sucked in with Lang, right? With Scott Lang,
Yeah, or something to that, like something to that effect.
or is he still in the microverse thing? I don't fucking. I'll
He
have
got
to rewatch
he
the
got
movie.
summoned. He got like sucked into the
Yeah,
freaking miniverse of the
yeah,
miniverse
that's
or
what I
whatever the
thought. That's what
fuck.
I thought too. Yeah, so the miniverse.
Yep.
I
Who
don't know.
knows how
I'll have to
tiny that
rewatch the
is.
movie at some point, but yeah, I mean, it's easy enough for them to leave it, especially because they're reworking anyway, and they're already dropping the title, right? Like
Hmm.
that could suggest to a lot of people that like they're done with Kang, but they could easily recast him and have him be a part of something else, right?
Yeah.
So I think at this point, Doctor Doom is the clear way to go overall. They're doing Secret Wars. Doctor Doom makes a lot of sense. And so to establish him in some way, shape, or form now and build him up through the following 2-3 years until Secret Wars comes out, I think is the right play. But we'll have to see what happens. I do think it's way too soon for Galactus, but if they bring him in and do it right, then I'm happy to see it. So
Yep. No, and it'll be cool. Like, I like Galactus too. I know who Galactus is because, who doesn't, he's like one of those guys, from Marvel that you just know, it's just by growing up in America, like, in the late 90s, early 2000s, and like just at all being exposed to comics. Like, yeah, there's this fucking guy called Galactus and he goes around eating planets.
yeah,
That's his thing, and he literally eats whole planets. And yeah,
yeah, he devours worlds.
that's
You know who else eats planets? Phoenix.
yeah.
A lot
How'd
of
that movie go?
planet eating things.
Yeah, how'd that Dark Phoenix movie go though?
Oh,
How'd
I,
that
I, don't, I
how
don't know. I think I told you right. Like I tried to watch it, because I knew Mystique died in it,
yeah.
and I was like, yo, finally, they're gonna do away with Mystique because she's not an X-Men and she doesn't belong as the central focus and whatever of these movies, and she just annoys the fuck out of me. I'm gonna keep it a buck. So I wanted to watch the movie to watch her die, and it doesn't happen until 45 minutes into the movie, which are not a good 45 minutes, where she's insufferable the whole time, and then when she does eventually die, she makes that painful too. Like, bro, just die. I don't need you over here starting to talk, telling people shit. Just fucking die, okay? Like, I couldn't even enjoy her death, okay? And after that, I was
Yep.
just annoyed, so I didn't continue on with the movie. I turned it off.
There you go. Well,
I tried.
but not well. That's how Dark Phoenix turned out. Not very well.
And then I watched the Dark Phoenix saga, or the Phoenix saga from the animated 90s cartoon, and that cleansed my palate a bit.
Good.
A bit.
When does that 90s thing come out for X-Men? When does that come out?
X-Men 97 comes out March 20th.
You
So
gonna
in
stay home
3
and watch it?
weeks.
Take off work?
No.
Oh.
I don't take off work for that stuff. I will happily go to work on 2 hours of sleep. Don't worry.
Yep.
But no, I did the same thing. Like when the first season of Daredevil came out, like, bro, I remember. I remember. I
You
came
remember
home.
staying up?
I came home, and as soon as it was live, I watched the whole thing in one sitting. I don't know if I'm built for that anymore, but I remember doing that. And then I was working the harbor at the time, so
Yeah, working the harbor always makes it easier to get away with certain things.
I mean,
When you
not
walk
really.
in
Like
in the morning.
I was only ever late for work one time, and it was because of my schedule, and I was so burnt out, and people thought I died.
No, well,
I was getting calls, off of everybody there. They thought I was in a ditch somewhere because I'm never late.
that's all funny.
So, yeah, I overslept by like 4 hours. Because, bro, my schedule was crazy back then. I was working like every shift, right? I was working like the overnights. I was working a couple days, like 8 to 5, and I was working. So I was working a couple days 2 to 10, a couple days 8 to 5, and a couple days 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Like 6 days straight, like that. 2 2 2.
That's pretty intense.
And I did that for about a month before it caught up to me, and I overslept one day. So.
There you go.
It was bad. It's bad.
Yeah.
Bro, we could have sued the fuck out of that company. We could have
I
got.
don't know about Sue. I don't know if it's worth it, to be honest.
Let's be honest. You know
You
how
know,
many fucking labor practices they violated and shit.
yeah, it is what it is, man. I prefer not to dwell on the past. Look forward to
Yeah.
the future.
Yeah. Same.
It was just a job. Moving on, not a career thing.
Yeah. But I
Anyway, we're sputtering out of ideas here, so
well,
just
to be
about
honest, there's a marina aid position out near me, and I've been looking for a second
well,
job, so I applied for it.
hope that goes well.
Just be a second job, bro. I got the experience. You know what I'm saying, bro? I know how to
Yeah,
do everything at a marina.
we definitely got the experience.
So yeah, bro. They had us doing shit that people get paid like $60 an hour to do. We were out there
Yeah,
painting and shit, bro. We we
yeah, there's no
we
doubt about
we
it. But you also
repainted the
you learn,
fucking
but also
office.
yeah, but also like it's good valuable life skills and stuff like
Well,
that. Like
of course, bro.
if
But
you ever
but
buy your own house, like now you know how to
yeah,
paint like
but
the
we were
interior of a
making
house, mass
$10 an
paint.
hour.
Yeah, well, that is what it
Bro,
is when
they had
you're
us they had us
a
in
kid.
protective suits to repaint fuel tanks, making ten
Yeah,
dollars an hour.
yeah, there's no doubt about it. That's kind of a weird place for sure.
We should have all just
Weird
done
place to
what
be.
what good old KT did. You know what I'm saying? He just refused
Mm,
to do it
yeah,
because he
I did that
knew.
because there's a couple times I told him no. There's no doubt about it. There's a couple times like
Yeah.
with the forklift and stuff like that. And when the new company came in, I told them, no, I'm driving the forklift. I'm not taking a pay hit. So you can either fire me or you can, So I went.
Pay me, bitch.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. Well.
Anyway,
Anyway.
looks like we're all done.
Yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any thoughts, you can share them. You can rate us on whatever podcast platform you listen. You can follow or subscribe on whatever podcast platform you listen. Or if you watch on YouTube, you can give us a thumbs up and subscribe and write a comment and be like, you guys are dumb fucks or something. I don't know. You can write a review on any of those podcast platforms as well. You can follow the Twitch stream, twitch.com twitch.tv/the nerd ledger. If you ever want to catch us live, you can click the bell or whatever. It'll notify you when we go live, and then you can join us. You can type in chat and tell us again how much you hate us or how much you don't hate us. And yeah, we'll be back. We appreciate you. Much love. See you next time. Bye.
Huskies.
Hold on, I have to push the buttons. Bye.